Hey everybody, Michael from FUTO here. I'm here today with Peter. Peter, as well as being an employee at FUTO, also runs his own channel, which is the Kino Corner. This is a channel where he does a bunch of film reviews and film analysis. And recently, Peter had an interesting experience with an organization trying to copy strike one of his videos.
Yeah.
And we were hoping that he could go into this briefly for the channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that, like, for a channel like mine where you talk about movies, it's an inevitability that you're going to get copyright claims. But, if you adhere to certain rules, you pretty much always know that you're under fair use. I'm not uploading full films. I'm saying like, oh, here's American Psycho full movie. I'm not creating some kind of secondary market. In fact, really what I'm doing on my channel is making supplementary materials to the films. So it's really for people who have either seen the films before, or really for people who've seen the films before. Sometimes I make videos where I'm recommending movies. I don't really give spoilers in those. So it's more just like, hey, go check this out, go check that out. But really it's either me essentially advertising films that I really like, or it's me making supplementary deep dives, more academic, but not academic feeling, I guess. So what happened recently was my video on Terry Gilliam's Brazil, which is almost poetic in a way. That there was all sorts of bureaucratic errors made in this that happened to my Brazil video. If you guys haven't seen the movie Brazil, it's a dystopian science fiction retro futurist movie about a autocratic society run by a bureaucracy that doesn't work. So it works that this happened to this video. So basically what happened was the video had been up for months. When you upload a video to YouTube, there's essentially an AI that goes through your video to make sure that that you aren't using too much copyrighted material. And one of the tricks that I use is that I don't let clips last for longer than 10 seconds. If you have clips last less than 10 seconds, and it's not like you're just cutting out a few seconds and showing entire scenes, but you're making more of a montage with the clips, and you have your commentary underneath it, and you're not showing entire scenes, then you're usually pretty much in the clear. And so I really have rarely had it to where the AI, when I'm uploading it, says that there's copyright issues. So with the Brazil video, there were no copyright issues, as far as YouTube was concerned. And it was good for a few months. I think I uploaded it in January or maybe early February. And then it was in, I think, early June that I got a copyright claim. And the copyright claim said that it was coming from Universal. And I've dealt with Universal before. Universal copyright claimed my Lighthouse video, and I won that. I won the Lighthouse one almost immediately because they claimed a bunch of stuff that they didn't own. I pointed that out, and then it was over. So I thought that this was going to be the case, because when I went to go see what the claim was, it was all the way from 6 minutes and 26 seconds to 38 minutes and 42 seconds. So they claimed well over half an hour of my 43-minute video, and I did the calculations. YouTube says, oh, you can cut this stuff out and then just keep the video up and lose the claim. But if I cut that out, my 43.5-minute long video would turn into an 11.5-minute long video with basically all the good commentary, so I would have my little intro, my little outro, and then that would be it. I mean, that wouldn't even be a video. So I was like, well, this is a shoddy job, and most of what they claimed was me sitting in my studio talking to the camera. And I'm like, well, they don't own the copyright. They can't tell me to take that down for copyright purposes. That's dumb. But they were claiming Brazil. And, I was just like, okay, this is some 20-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever guy working at one of these copyright ID farms, which they do exist. I know some people who work at them. And he just, I don't know, was being really lazy and was like, okay, whatever. This is the whole freaking video, I guess. And and so I brought it up and I said, look, you know, this is fair use. It's all transformative. Like, this isn't creating a secondary market. People aren't coming to this video to watch the movie. They're coming here to listen to my commentary, because there's really no way you can watch the movie with this video. I mean, the movie's like almost 2.5 hours long, and the video's 43 minutes long, with half of that video being me, you know, talking to the camera. So there's really no way that you can like get the full experience of watching the movie by watching the video. And I thought, okay, I'm going to push this through. They're going to see the error of their ways, and it's going to be over and done. Well, that appeal got rejected, and that's actually not too uncommon. So something that I've learned from other YouTubers, because, you know, we all talk about this kind of stuff. This isn't something that just affects me. You know, I'm not special in this regard. But I was talking to other YouTubers, and many of them said, yeah, some of these companies will just automatically reject the first appeal. Like, they won't even read what you had to say. They know that this is probably fair use, but they essentially want they want to make the money off the creators, because especially if it's like a third-party company, right? Because what they're selling to these studios is that we will content ID videos, and we'll get the money from that, and then you'll get like a very large percentage of that money. So they want to hold on to that money from videos. And so but the thing to realize is that a lot of these third-party companies, they're not going to sue you, or even like Universal. Like, they're not going to sue you, because what do they, like, if it is fair use, that's just too much of a headache for them, you know. But they will try to scare you into basically saying like, oh no, like, because like, you can have it, because if you appeal a second time, you open yourself up to a copyright strike, and by opening yourself up to a copyright strike, you open yourself up to a potential lawsuit, because legal papers essentially have to be filed to give you a copyright strike. You know, copyright strikes on YouTube, they work a bit differently than like community guideline strikes. Community guideline strikes, they're done just by YouTube for any reason whatsoever. I mean, the FUTO channel has had community guideline strikes, so we've gone through that before.
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
I know. Like probably one of the tamest channels on YouTube has gotten the community guideline strike. So it's really that's all up to YouTube. Copyright strike, that kind of works outside of YouTube, because YouTube doesn't really want to get involved in copyright stuff, and you know, for obvious legal reasons. And you know, and I understand. I understand that. But what happened was, after I made my second appeal, and what they make you do on the second appeal is they make you go through and say how much, like, how much of the original content was used, or how much of the copyrighted content was used, and what percentage does that make up of the original work. So Brazil is something like 2 hours and 12 minutes, and I calculated, I had to go back into this really old file, which was a pain in the ass. And I calculated that I used something like 16 point something percent. You were right next to me.
Yeah.
And I was saying a lot of swear words while I was doing this. And it was like 16.8% or something of the movie. And I'm like, and that's all with commentary. So, you know, so I was thinking like, of course this is fair use. And I thought, you know, okay, well, I'm going to win this time. Well, when you do that second appeal, you have to put in your name, you have to put in your address, you have to put in your phone number, and you have to put in your email. That's in case they need to send you legal letters, and in case they need to sue you, they need to serve you, you know, papers. So then I thought, okay, well, I'm dealing with Universal. Like, this is just a typical scare tactic, but they're going to back down after this. So I was shocked a few days later when I got an email from YouTube saying that my second appeal was not accepted, and that I now had 7 days. It's like the fucking Ring. You have 7 days. I now have 7 days to either take down the video so I could delete the video. I could take back the appeal so that they would make the money off the video, or I could wait 7 days and essentially just wait until I got a copyright strike, and the video would be deleted by YouTube. And if I got a copyright strike, that meant the legal papers had to be filed. So I was like, oh, fuck. So maybe in 7 days, I'm going to get a lawsuit. But I noticed on that email that it was not universal anymore, which was really weird because the last few emails had been that, well, they've been by YouTube because everything is going through YouTube and YouTube is acting as kind of an intermediary. It had said Universal, and now it said this studio called Kanhaya Studios. And I was thinking, I don't know who these people are. You know, I'm used to dealing with, you know, studios, you know, like I think my Literally Me video got a copyright claim. I was able to fight that. The American Psycho video got a copyright claim. I was able to fight that. The Lighthouse video did. And these all came like several months or even years after the videos released. And, you know, and I won those all pretty easily. But with this Kanhaya Studios, I was like, who are these people? And so I started looking into them. And if you want to see kind of my deep dive into Kanhaya Studios, I have that up on my channel. But they're this Indian company that I guess I was showing you like where their office was. It's like straight out of those Indian scammer videos, you know, where he like finds where their office is, because it's all storefronts for like you know, I go into Google Maps, I do the street view, and you don't see like, oh, it doesn't look like they have an office building. Maybe they operate above like some little shop or something. Their website is just in like super broken English, and none of their and they claim to be an MCN, but if you click on their buttons to like, I was like, maybe I should join their MCN, and I clicked on the button to do it. It took me to, I got a 404 error. So their website is broken, and then it has misspellings and bad grammar and everything. And I was thinking like, you know, even if Universal did hire these people to do content claiming, I don't know how you could even get in contact with these people. And I would think that like the guy at Universal would like look at their website and go, oh no, like this is not we don't want to work with these people. You know, they put in like the least amount of effort into all their like public facing sites. And I found their YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure their YouTube channel was botted because or they botted their subscribers, because they have somewhere like close to 600,000 subs, but only about 5.5 million views. Now, I have 146,000 subs, and I have well over 10 million views. And, you know, many people like you get views a lot faster than you actually get subscribers. That's just how it works. But at least I thought it was botted, and I was like, well, let me look to see like how they're doing now. So I went and checked all their videos from this year. It's some like Indian music thing, and every video this year except for one had less than 1,000 views. With the one having over 1,000 views has like 1.1 thousand views, like just like 1,100 views, and the other videos were struggling to break 500. So I was like, this is kind of a shady YouTube channel too. So I thought, you know, this reeks of like did Kanhaya Studios pretend to be Universal to claim my video? You know, what's going on? What's going on here? Does YouTube just like let anybody pretend to be another company to, you know, put some DMCA claim, some content ID claim on videos? I don't know how YouTube really allowed this to happen. To me, this is just really weird, because I thought I was dealing with an actual studio, and then it turns out I wasn't. But YouTube also seemed to think that it was dealing with an actual studio, but then they didn't seem to think it was much of a problem when it turns out that they weren't. Because YouTube sent me the email saying that it was Kanhaya Studios, and they sent me their emails and everything, that if I wanted to talk to them to resolve the issue. But I was like, I'm not going to talk to these people. You know, I'm gonna make a big public stink about it on Twitter, which I did, and I'm gonna signal boost this, and I'm essentially going to I'm basically not going to shut up. And I think this is a big problem with just how the content ID system and how copyright works on YouTube, because actually I was talking to, well, you know, my roommate Solar Sands, and he had a very similar thing happen to him where he was using a song that had a Creative Commons license. And, you know, if you don't know what like Creative Commons licenses are, a lot of the music that YouTubers use have Creative Commons license, because that's essentially
It's
like
the non-copyright sounds type stuff.
Yeah. So basically you're free to use any songs that have that license. And he got a copyright claim and a potential strike for using a song with a Creative Commons license. So he got in touch with the actual artist, and the artist was like, no, I didn't do that. And it turns out it was one of these scam companies that was posing as the artist. But even if like they were posing as the artist, you can't copyright strike a video that, you know, for something that's using that license. So yeah, so this just kind of made me think, like, what's going on in YouTube to where the system seems to be broken to where bad actors can exploit this? And you know, how big is this to where you know, like, I wonder how much money that they're actually making as a company. How many people have channels that they just haven't looked at in a while, and they're posing as different companies, and they're you know, they're basically making money off of other people, and YouTube is just like, well, we don't want to get involved, so so you just do what you know, you just do what you want to do. And as I said in my other video, I was like, well, you know, the thing is that anybody can put a DMCA claim on a video if they believe that that video is using their content, right? If they really believe that that video is using their content, they can have a DMCA takedown on anything. But the access to the content ID section of YouTube, I think, should be more restricted. I think that there should be some sort of verification that the company is who they say they are. You know, because because what it seemed like to me is that they came in there and said, hey, we're Universal Studios, we're Universal Pictures. And YouTube just said, okay, all right.
Well, let me ask. So do you feel like YouTube is doing anything at all to stop these kinds of abuses of their system, or are they just totally complicit in allowing people to, you know, abuse the system in this way?
I think that YouTube is scared of getting involved. I know that YouTube, you know, so when I was talking to Team YouTube on Twitter, it just honestly made me more angry. Because I was getting just like stock responses, but not just stock responses, but it was like stock responses written by some like annoying millennial, you know, like where they intentionally don't like capitalize things, you know. It's like, it's you can really tell that it's just it's manufactured to make it feel like it's somebody who's actually talking to you when they're just giving you stock responses. And I'm just like, look, if you're going to give me stock responses, just have it look like a stock response. You know what I mean? And but they said, oh, we take this very seriously, and people that abuse a content ID system, we will kick off. And it does seem like, you know, it does seem like they do that, but I also think that as I said, anybody can DMCA claim a video. Like, if there is a video that you think is stealing your content, you don't need access to the Content ID system to do that. But I think that something that YouTube should do is they should just have people that actually vet these companies beforehand. And it's not hard to like say, oh, this is definitely Universal Pictures. Oh, this is definitely Disney. Oh, this is definitely Nintendo. This is definitely, you know, whatever company it is. Or if, you know, YouTubers have access to the Content ID system as well, which is maybe how Can Hyatt Studios got access to it. Because like I can go into my YouTube studio and I can see if people are like re-uploading my video somewhere. But that's what kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because like if I had re-uploaded one of Can Hyatt Studios videos, which I would never do that. I mean, but whatever. Yeah, they could use like that Content ID system and say like, oh hey, you re-uploaded this, right? And I want to take it down. I've done that before to to another channel. Although I didn't strike them or anything, I just went out to them and told them, "Hey, can you take this down?" Because, and this was years ago, because they re-uploaded one of my full videos, and then said, courtesy of the Kino Corner, he let me re-upload this video to my channel. And I just commented, "No, I didn't." Like, "I don't know who you are." And then that video got taken down about a day later. I was like, "Who are you?" I didn't, but I was like, I don't want to go through the whole claiming, striking thing. Like, that's annoying. I don't understand a lot about how it's used by studios. I know that, say, a lot of times they use third-party companies that are verified that go through and do this on studios' behalf, and if it gets to a sort of a legal point, they'll essentially bump it up to the studios, in which case, with like video essays and stuff, the studios are like, "We don't care. Like, just release it. Like, we don't care." But most of the times that I've heard of people kind of abusing this system have been like targeted. They've been targeting people in general. They, like that one guy going after, Ethan Klein, copyright striking his video, which was a huge deal. I don't know. It feels like ancient history now, but yeah, with this, they say that they kicked them off the Content ID. I don't have any indication that this company has been reprimanded at all for doing something like this. And then my thought is too, it's like this company seems to have or like that website seems to have been thrown together in a day. They seem to be lying, about like what it is that they do. I'm not really sure, but it's super fishy to me. And say they get kicked off, I wouldn't be surprised if they could just, come up with another LLC or whatever, and then get back on. It seems to be like and maybe that's the problem that YouTube has, is that it's kind of playing a game of whack-a-mole with some people like this.
Maybe. One question that I have, so you interact with a lot of YouTubers and like the scene of creators that, make content for YouTube. It seems like most of what people complain about is people striking things that are very obviously fair use, and this seems to be like what the majority of the strikes are. Yeah. And YouTube doesn't obviously publish numbers on like how many strikes end up categorized as fair use versus how many strikes end up categorized as like an actual copyright thing. But it seems, and maybe you can correct me on this, it seems like almost all of these strikes are against fair use things, and a lot of them just never go anywhere, and it seems like a useless...
Well, there's probably a lot of strikes against people just uploading full movies to YouTube, but if I was to be YouTube, with the Content ID system, because as I said, like, you don't need to use the Content ID system to like send YouTube a DMCA takedown notice and say, "Hey, this is my content. This person uploaded illegally. Please take it down." You don't need that system to do that. But I would say that like even from studios, they've claimed my videos knowing full well that they're fair use.
This is kind of what I'm trying to get at, is like, is this mostly frivolous? Like, do you feel like most of the claims that you see anyway, or the other people that you interact with see, like, are most of them just frivolous? Like,
ever since I started doing YouTube seriously, I've won every single one of my copyright disputes. So every single one, which means that they backed down at one point or another, which means that they knew from the start that it was fair use. I didn't have to explain to them that it was fair use. They knew that it was fair use. And this has happened to a lot of other channels that especially do film related content, sometimes not film related content. Although movies really are much more forgiving on YouTube than, say, music. Music is like not forgiving at all. And I know that some music channels that, will like kind of break down songs and whatnot, it's hard for them to monetize. With film, I think with film too, it's easier to say, "Oh yeah, this definitely is fair use," than music. I don't know. I stay away from any kind of copyrighted music in my videos.
So in general though, do you feel like all these rules and all these things that YouTube does, like this like bureaucratic system, does it like have a kind of chilling effect on the kind of content that you and other people create? Like, is there content that you would have done differently or significantly artistically differently if you didn't have these kinds of rules in place?
Yeah, it also just wastes a lot of my time. You know, like every time you deal with this, you know, it's a huge time waste, and then you don't get you don't get that money from the video until months later. So that video, you know, can be making money, and that can be your main money maker video. All of a sudden, it gets a claim, and then you're kind of shit out of luck for a couple months because, you know, they could take almost up to 30 days to get back just to the first appeal. I think for this Brazil video, it took them like 3 weeks or something, 2-3 weeks to get back to me. So it was just held in escrow for forever, and it missed the pay period. And then by the time that we were able to actually resolve this, which I say resolve this, I was playing a game of chicken with him, and I basically told him, I'm not, like, strike me. I'm not taking the video down because I know I'm in the right. And then when I had like maybe 3 days left to delete the video, they ended up releasing the claim. But that was right after the last pay period. So now for that video, the 2 months of revenue that it created, I have to wait until the end of August to get that money. But one of the fears I have is that a company like this, if they really wanted to get monetization from somebody, they could do this to not just one video, but they could do this to several videos. Because if you get 3 copyright strikes, your channel is deleted, you know, and they can really bully people into essentially just siphoning off their money if they're, you know, malicious. And, you know, that's happened where people like mass report videos just to get channels terminated. And that is a problem. And something that I think that maybe should be put in place, maybe it is put in place, and I don't know about this, is like companies who issue these claims having a sort of like ratio, right, of claims won versus like disputes won versus disputes lost. You know, because it really comes down to, are we willing to sue this creator over this, you know? And so if somebody, say, uploads a full movie or, say, uploads a full music video to their channel or something like that, that's obviously not fair use. And I don't think that they're going to fight that because they're like, yeah, okay, you caught me. You know, yeah, I was doing something that I shouldn't have been doing. You caught me. It's yours. Do whatever you want with it. But something that's like a video essay where obviously a lot of time was put in to make it transformative, like we're going to fight it. And if they're going after these transformative works, they're probably going to lose a lot of those. And I think that there needs to be some sort of something in place for these companies who issue content ID claims on YouTube to make sure that they're going after the people who are actually breaking the law, and not just bullying people who are making a very big effort to not break the law. And in fact, like with my channel, my videos, I mean, because I talk about movies that I really like, they serve as, in a way, they serve as like advertisements for the movies, because I'm like trying to share movies that I like with people. And, you know, if people watch this video, they're going to go out and seek the movie and everything. And I'm like, why are you trying to like shut down my videos when I'm probably making you money indirectly from these videos? I'm not doing this because I want these studios to make money. I'm just doing it because I like the films. But, you know, that is like an indirect consequence of people are like, oh, Kino Corner really likes this movie. I'm going to go maybe buy the Blu-ray, or I'm going to go stream it on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, you know? And I'm like, you should be happy that this is the case. I've actually had a studio reach out to me, and I thought, oh crap, they want to sue me. When I first saw the email, and it was Unearthed Films, and it was about my Serbian film video, and I saw that I think his name is Byro, was in my inbox, and I thought, oh, crap, like he's mad. And then he just emailed me, hey, I really liked your video. And I'm like, okay, see, like this is, you know, I'm like, he understands. A lot of the smaller distributors understand this. Like, they won't touch, if I cover something that's like Unearthed Films, Massacre Video, Vinegar Syndrome, you know, these kind of more like boutique labels that, you know, they own the full rights to it. Now, rights can get really messy, especially when you go worldwide. They're just happy people are talking about their movies, you know, but Universal, 20th Century Fox, Disney, they don't care. But I don't know what, like, these companies, I mean, they're making millions, billions off of their movies. What do they need like a couple $100 from like a YouTuber for?
Yeah. So you brought up several like suggestions that and I know lots of YouTubers have these types of suggestions where it's like change the internal process to be something that is more fair or that has more transparency to it. And YouTube famously has basically no transparency whatsoever in terms of like how things are operating internally with moderation, with these kinds of like copy strikes or any of this stuff. And I've heard from you and other people that talking to these like YouTube representatives that are given to big channels also is just completely, you know, not a good, like they don't do anything.
Yeah, they basically don't do anything. I mean, I elected not to get a YouTube manager because all my other YouTuber friends were like, all my other YouTuber friends were like, no, don't do it. Like, it's worthless. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I won't do it. It's worthless. And yeah, I mean, but this isn't the only thing that YouTube is kind of opaque about, you know. Like, YouTube is opaque about a lot of things. It's opaque about like why your video necessarily isn't monetized. You know, I talked about the whole age restriction stuff with Vsauce 2 the other week. What rating your channel has, you know, like it'll rate channels like M, PG, whatever. There's different ratings. Somebody found it a couple years ago that they were doing channel ratings, you know, and YouTube Help just doesn't work, you know. YouTube Help just doesn't work at all. Like Team YouTube, it's just you're just talking to a brick wall the whole time, and you know, and one of the things that they said to me, which felt so out of touch, was that I should talk to my counsel. And I'm like, well, you know, I am friends with a lot of lawyers. They're not copyright lawyers, though. And, you know, they're corporate lawyers, I guess. You know, yeah, I'm going to go talk to the patent lawyer that I know. Like, okay, he's not going to be able to help me out. But, like, what YouTuber, like, most YouTubers, you know, it's like they don't have, like, copyright lawyers on retainer, you know. We're not like these Silicon Valley people that just make tons of money and can just have lawyers on retainer in the background. You know, we just have a legal Kino Corner has a legal team. Like, that doesn't really exist. And maybe if I don't know, like, I feel like, you know, I know that H3H3 many years ago, and this ended up not like really panning out, was putting together a fund for people who are going through similar things, you know, where they would get a strike and they would have to defend themselves in court. But I don't think that went anywhere. I don't really keep up with a lot of that side of YouTube, but I don't think that really went anywhere. But I think that if you're over a certain, say, number of subscribers, you know, if you have at least a silver play button or something, there should be some kind of, I don't know, maybe this is asking too much, some kind of legal counsel, or just like you can talk to a legal team at YouTube just to assess it and see like, hey, should I actually put my video at risk of getting a lawsuit, or does this qualify as fair use? Just to ask something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's asking too much. But I think that them telling us, yeah, get a lawyer right now. You know, it's like, okay, so I can't afford a lawyer. You know, I'm not going to like go out and find a lawyer and then it turns out that it was all a copyright troll, you know? So it's like, so I'm going to bankrupt myself, or I'm going to have to pay a couple $100 just because this person is screwing with me. And I just don't think that that's right.
Do you think that YouTube is going to ever do anything to correct these kinds of practices, or is it just kind of like a lost cause at this point? Like it seems like they just simply do not care about smaller content creators, and these issues have come up again and again and again for I don't even know how many years.
I don't think it's going to get better, because YouTube is really, you know, when people who like watch a lot of YouTube, right, they think that YouTube is content creators like myself and Solar Sands and Vsauce and those guys. But really YouTube is a music streaming platform. Like, first and foremost, you know, what gets the most views on YouTube? Music videos by, you know, these big record labels. I think YouTube is more in the business of making these record labels and these large studios and these news organizations and, you know, late night show hosts happy than they are in the business of making content creators happy. Content creators are always complaining, and I think YouTube is like, they're always going to complain, so who cares? You know, oh, this channel with, you know, 200,000 subs just got wrongly, you know, terminated, or, you know, or going through this. Yeah, but we have to make sure that Universal Records is happy. Like, that's priority number one, which from a business standpoint does make sense. But I think that they take this very hands-off approach, and they're just like, you guys deal with it, because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to get involved, and they especially don't want to like cut in and like tell the people that are pumping a lot of money into YouTube, like these big record labels or these big studios. They don't want to tell them that they're wrong. You know, I think that's the other thing. But in my case, and I understand that, like, and I know that like these people are just trying to mess with me most of the time, but they're not going to actually do anything. It's just going to be a pain in the ass for a month or so. And I can deal with that. But the thing with this particular one is that I was making it known to YouTube that I thought that these were bad actors, and all I asked them to do was just to take a look into the company to determine if they were, you know, they were claiming to be Universal. And I said, well, they're obviously not Universal. So just take a look into them and see if maybe this was done maliciously and in bad faith. And that's all I asked them to do. It was just to take a look into the company. I don't think that ever happened. And I think they were like, this is a waste of our time. Who cares? That was the vibe that I got from YouTube. So I don't think it's gonna stop.
Well, other than YouTube, there are several alternative platforms which we like to promote here at FUTO. So there's like, you know, Odyssey and PeerTube. There's also other platforms like BitChute, Vimeo.
You don't really want to upload to Vimeo though.
Yeah.
I mean, Vimeo makes you pay a bunch of money, and then I had a thing with Vimeo where I had a whole bunch of stuff on Vimeo, and then they said that if I didn't like pay them $250 or something, they would like delete my videos off of Vimeo. And so I just downloaded all my videos off of Vimeo. I just put it onto Google Drive, and I was like, okay, delete it. I'm not paying $250 to get 0 views on my videos.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's, Odyssey, Rumble, PeerTube. I mean, heck, you can upload straight to Patreon. That's like the Vimeo workaround, is uploading it straight to Patreon, because Patreon uses Vimeo as their video host. You know, yeah. So
yeah. So
little pro gamer move right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here we mostly try to promote Odyssey and PeerTube. We run our own PeerTube instance that all of our videos are mirrored onto. It gets almost no views. Maybe this will cause it to get a few more views. We get a few on Odyssey. There's like certain fanatical people that really like Odyssey, and it seems like an okay platform.
Yeah, unless you want to make money.
Yeah, that's. Yeah. But yeah, and PeerTube is pretty nice. It has like an interesting feature where you can peer-to-peer share the cached file that you are currently watching with other people that are also watching that video. So it saves on server cost for the person running the PeerTube instance, because you can be kind of like a torrent seeder while you're watching a PeerTube video. But this optimization is not super helpful if you are the only person watching the video at any given time.
Yeah, and don't upload to 4K to PeerTube. I made that mistake. That was upload at 1080p and make sure that the bit rate is maybe 10 or below if you're going to upload to PeerTube. I made the mistake of uploading very high res, very high bit rate 4K videos, and it kind of, the videos didn't, there were a lot of problems. But yeah, and then you can obviously watch, you know, if you want to watch creators across these platforms. Kino Corner for my channel, I have everything mirrored to Odyssey. Last year I started mirroring everything to Rumble. I post a lot of my stuff on Patreon. I post exclusive stuff on Patreon every now and then. But you can follow everything that I post on GrayJ. So say a company like this, say you really like the Brazil video, and say that company actually did manage to get that video taken down. Well, that video is still up on Odyssey. It's still up on Rumble. It's still up on Patreon. And if you want to have it all in one feed, you can follow me on GrayJ.
Yeah. The key thing with GrayJ is that you follow the specific creator, and in doing so, you can see everything that they post across every single platform and not just be locked into one thing. So like if a creator gets like banned, for instance, or they get their videos removed, like in this case, or not in this case, thankfully, but if a YouTuber or any kind of content creator gets banned, you can easily follow them and retain your followers across the gap of getting banned.
Because that's the big problem with like these alt tech platforms, right? Is that in theory it's great that there are other video hosting sites, but really, you know, YouTube is still the biggest one. And when you ask people, say like, "Hey, I'm now moving all my stuff to this other website," when you ask people to click a couple times, you lose a lot of people. When you ask them to do maybe like 10 seconds of work, you lose a major chunk of your people because people are just so used to just going to one website or to one app and then just watching stuff there and going between apps like, oh, I want to watch this one creator on this app and this other creator on this app. It's just, you end up losing a large portion of your audience. And so GrayJ just kind of like says, no, you just need one app and it doesn't matter where they are. Yeah.
This mostly, like the things that most people hear about are the way that this impacts like extremely controversial creators, but like in our Vsauce 2 video and in this video, this can impact anyone. Like you can get banned, you can get like harassed by YouTube for any type of content, like whether it's like educational or historical content, or whether it's just like doing things like movie reviews. Like there's just all sorts of hurdles put in place that make it really, really painful to use YouTube as a platform if you're trying to like build up an audience and trying to like stay within the rules, I would say.
Yeah. Yep. And anyways, I think that's about it.
Yeah. So where can they follow you again?
They can follow me. You guys can follow me on the Kino Corner. And if you, again, if you want to see my deep dive and me kind of laughing at this studio that did this, taking a little victory lap, you can. I'll have the link in the description below.
Yeah. And you can follow FUTO on this YouTube channel, our Odyssey, our PeerTube, any
Twitter, X,
Twitter.
Yeah, all the links will be in the description.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.